We all have slumps. We have times that we feel like we're not making any progress at all. Like we're just spinning our wheels, we're plateaued, we're just stuck. And honestly, those times can get dark. It can be really discouraging. Sometimes you want to quit. But let me tell you about a young runner from South Dakota and how his story can help you when you're feeling like you're not making any progress. This young man's name was Billy Mills, and he was born on the Pine Ridge Lakota Indian Reservation in South Dakota at the end of the Great Depression. He grew up in staggering poverty, and things were really hard at home. His mom died when he was just 8 years old. And as you can imagine, he felt completely overwhelmed with some really uncomfortable emotions. He remembers shortly after this, his dad taking him fishing. And at one point, his dad took a stick, drew a circle on the ground, and said, "Son, step inside." And then he said, "Billy, I want you to look in your heart and sort out this tangle of emotions. Anger, jealousy, resentment. Got them all sorted out? Okay, I want you just to leave them in the circle and walk away." Now, that seems easier said than done, but we can filter thoughts and emotions. We get to choose. You see this in elite athletes all the time. It's a learned skill, and the more we practice it, the better we get at it. When Patrick Mahomes throws a bad pass, he doesn't sit there and dwell on that bad pass for the rest of the game. If he did, he would just throw more bad passes. Instead, he filters out that thought, that emotion, that anger, all of it. He filters it out and focuses on thoughts and emotions that help him build towards a constructive end. Learning to filter between things that are constructive and destructive is a powerful tool as an athlete. Billy's father at this point also counseled him that he needed to find a dream. He said, "It's in a pursuit of a dream that heals your broken wings of your soul. He'll let you fly." But unfortunately for Billy, this was not the end of his difficulties. His dad dies when he's 12 years old and leaves him an orphan. His older siblings try and look after him for a couple of years, but when he has the chance to move away to a boarding school in Kansas, he takes the opportunity. At the boarding school, he starts boxing and running, and by the end of his high school career, he won the Class B state championships in cross country for the state of Kansas. In the process, this gets him a scholarship to the University of Kansas to run. Now, again, with good comes the difficult. When he told his coach at the University of Kansas that he wanted to try more speed work, his coach replied that this was not for Indians. Indians just run forever. They don't do speed work. On another occasion, he was excluded from a photo op of all the other All-Americans because his skin was too dark. He said this really pushed him over the edge. He thought seriously about suicide. But he said that he could hear the voice of his father telling him not to give up, that he could overcome this, that he could heal these broken wings of his soul. Back on campus about a week after this photo op opportunity and these dark thoughts, he passed a beautiful girl on campus, introduced himself, they started dating, and eventually got married their senior year. After he graduated from the University of Kansas, Billy enlisted in the Marines and continued training with the dream of qualifying for the Olympics. By the summer of 1964, Billy, now with a wife and a kid, qualified for the 10,000 meters and the marathon in the Olympics. Now, when he raced in the 10,000 meter finals, no one even knew of Billy Mills. The favorite in the race was an Australian runner named Ron Clark, who had run a minute faster than Mills in the qualifying heats. Like, Mills wasn't even in the same stratosphere as this guy. So during the race, Billy Mills takes the lead for one lap, just so that he can tell people for the rest of his life that he led for a lap in the Olympics. But Ron Clark, the favorite, wasn't interested in just leading for a lap. He set a blistering pace, throwing in brutal surges every other lap and quickly stringing the field out. Shockingly, Mills stuck along with him with the fantastic Tanzanian runner Muhammad Gamadi. But halfway through the race, 12 and a half laps in, at this punishing pace, Mills had had enough. He said, quote, "I came so close to quitting. I looked into the infield. If there was nobody there that I knew, I was going to quit. Everybody there was local Japanese officials. Anywhere was a great place to quit. But then I looked into the stadium, and who did I see? My wife. And she's crying, seeing me push to the limits. And there's no way I could quit now. We made a commitment together, he said, end quote. So he pushed himself, he stuck with it. The sun goes down during the race and they turn on the stadium lights. The last laps of this race are just a shambles. Ron Clark has pushed the pace so fast that the whole race is strung out and they're lapping and double lapping runners. These are elite runners who aren't used to getting lapped. And so they're not following the protocol of getting out to the outside lanes so that they can get past more easily. Clark says this dash for the finish line is like running towards the subway at rush hour, just weaving in and out of people. Clark, Gammoudi, and Mills are just swerving in and out, just screaming towards the finish line. In one particularly tight spot, Clark puts his forearm into Mills and shoves him into an outside lane so that he doesn't get cut off by the slow runner in front of him. Right after this happens, Gammoudi puts one hand on each Clark and Mills and pushes them apart and surges forward down the middle. As they come down the final straightaway, the television announcer is calmly announcing the duel between Clark and Gammoudi for the gold medal. Then the color commentator screams out over him, "Look at Billy Mills! Look at Billy Mills!" Sure enough, Billy Mills, clear out in lane 4, comes screaming down towards the finish line. The color commentator is later fired for getting too excited on national television, and honestly, I think whoever fired him should straight up get punched. Anyway, Mills breaks the tape and is caught by a race official who asks, "Who are you?" That's how unexpected of a win this is. Billy Mills runs 50 seconds faster than he had ever run before, winning a gold medal in the process. So here's the thing. You're going to have ups and downs as a runner. Heck, you're going to have ups and downs as a human being. That's normal. In fact, as we study human performance, people don't progress in a steady, gradual way that we usually envision it. Instead, the norm is a series of, you plateau for a bit, and then you have this spurt up, and then you'll plateau for a bit, and then a spurt up. It's this series of plateaus and sharp growth. And it's normal to plateau. It's normal even to slump a little bit. The problem is when this normal part of growth happens, we assume we're in decline. We get frustrated. We wonder if we should just give up. We feel like we're just bad at our chosen sport. But what is really happening if we are consistent with our physical training and our mental training, we are building and strengthening neural pathways to the point where when a critical point is reached, we'll surge forward again. You're just laying all the foundation. You can't build a house until the foundation is in place or it'll just fall apart. What you're doing when it seems like you're in a plateau is you're building a foundation so the next step can be taken. It's kind of like pushing a car out of the mud. I don't know if you've ever done that, but back in the day, I had a friend who drove this piece of crap Datsun pickup truck. We'd go drive it in the mud all the time and, of course, get it stuck in the mud all the time. When that happens, you push, and at first it seems like nothing's happening. But then you get the slightest bit of grip, and it surges forward. Boom, you run, get back in the truck, and go mudding some more. This is what it's like for you. If you feel like you're in a plateau, just continue right there. Be patient when it seems like you're not making any progress. Keep working hard. Build up your mental storehouse of confidence. Trust the process and you will progress. It is an absolute, immutable fact. So get out there and build something good. Trust that the surge is coming. Got it? All right, see you next time.